Hey, what's up everybody? It's Rudy Jalapeno here for Single Shift Ministry. Welcome to episode number 8 of our Save the Date series. Today we're going to be covering a very special topic, dating a single parent. Now there's a lot to say about this particular subject and it doesn't really get talked about a whole bunch. So we'd like to start the discussion and continue it for a few episodes in the future. Okay, so full disclosure, I am not a single parent. I don't have kids, never have had kids. I've dated a single parent. We actually dated for about 3 years. So whenever I'm kind of talking about this subject, that's where my perspective comes from. Now, a lot of this information will hopefully be helpful whether you're dating a single mom or you're a woman dating a single dad. However, because it is coming from my perspective, you may hear me say things like she and her a lot. Just understand that a lot of this advice is pretty universal. However, just because I'm talking from my perspective, you may hear the word she and her a lot. Okay, now just to start us off, one of the biggest things you have to understand about dating a single parent is intention. Intention is huge. You cannot enter a relationship with a single parent without intention. All the selfish little games that we play during a regular relationship cannot and will not fly here. Now, to some people, hearing that may sound a little bit intimidating. It may seem like there's an extra bit of responsibility, and if you're the type of person that kind of shies away from that type of responsibility or commitment, that may seem overwhelming. And just so you know, we will address that particular feeling at the end of this video. Just have an understanding that intention is the absolute biggest thing you must have in mind when dating a single parent. So with that, let's begin. Number 1, she has been to the puppet show and she has seen the strings. If you ever watched the movie Jerry Maguire, you've seen that scene where Tom Cruise and Cuba Gooding Jr. are discussing what it's like dating a single mom. And Cuba Gooding Jr. tells Tom Cruise, he's like, Jerry, she has been to the puppet show, she has seen the strings. What he's basically saying is, no games. This particular relationship is going to be different than all of your other relationships, and it's going to require a certain type of communication. There has to be a certain amount of respect, there has to be a certain amount of openness, there has to be a certain amount of transparency. When dating a single parent, you have to act like an adult. She's already taking care of one child, she doesn't need another. So if she has to pick her kid up from school and can't text you back, you can't get mad at that, all right? If she has to take her kid to the doctor after school or after work or whatever, and she doesn't have time to give you a phone call and talk for about 10 minutes, you gotta be okay with that too. Her child will and should come first. Her and her child are a unit. They are together. She has probably been taking care of this child longer than she's known you, all right? That child is a huge part of her life. Respect that. Don't be demanding time over time with her kid. Sometimes she's going to need a little bit of extra understanding and patience in the relationship. Now, this doesn't mean that all the responsibility of the relationship is going to fall onto you, but you will need to give a little bit extra grace when it comes to schedules and the time that she can give. Now, all that being said, trust me, single moms are some of the most loving people in the world, all right? They will give you the time that they have if they can give it, but just understand that rightfully so, her child's gonna come first, and that's okay. Again, she's already been taking care of this child for a while, so she has things down to a science. Just remember, a certain amount of time in the relationship is going to have to be in support of her. You have to be willing to give and not to take. Like I was saying before, she's been to the puppet show and she's seen the strings, all right? She's not in the mood for a show. She doesn't want to see any games, all right? Intention, intention, intention. Number 2, you are dating more than one person. So you're kind of technically dating more than one person. You have her, but you also have the child. And while you're kind of dating the child, it's a different type of relationship. Obviously, it's not a romantic relationship, but it's going to be a friendship. All right, you're building a friendship with this child. So if the relationship between you and the girl does not work out, you know, there's a certain, you can't just cut off a child. You can't do that. If you spend any time with the child, remember that child is becoming your friend. And you can't just cut off friends like that. A child doesn't always understand why you would all of a sudden choose to just start avoiding them. Heck, adults barely have a grasp of that type of behavior. So whenever you start dating a single parent, it would be wise to have some boundaries set up, not just between you and her, but also between you and the child, and to protect the child. You don't want the kid to get used to having someone around if you're not planning on making that commitment. Guys, having kids is super fun. Playing with kids is great. That's one of the reasons why I love, teaching kids class at church. But when it comes to dating a single parent, there's an exclusivity there with the child that could create an expectation. And again, if you're not willing to make that type of commitment, or you still don't know about the relationship, it's just, you have to really tread lightly to watch the child's feelings and to make sure that the kid doesn't get their hopes up for something that may not happen. Talk with whomever you're dating and agree on a specific amount of time before you start incorporating the child into your activities. Now, that's going to be different with, with age. Obviously, if the kid's, like 1 year old or something, you're not going to be taking them to the mall or to the movies with you or something. But if the kid is like 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 or something, you can take the kid to the zoo, you can take the kid places, and you can have a good time. So after about say 6 months to maybe a year of you guys dating, once you see that the relationship is going in a specific direction, take the kid out on dates with you guys. Go to the zoo, go to the park, go fly a kite, go ride bikes together. Just do something fun. Start incorporating the child into your dates and getting used to them. Just remember, boundaries are a very good indication of what is important to us. Don't be afraid of them. Children get attached, and children get attached quickly. Remember, you're building a romantic relationship with her, but with the child, you're building a friendship. Also, be careful of the words you choose around the child. Words like, I love you, I'll always be there, I'll never leave you. Or even, telling the kid it's okay to call you daddy or something like that. Those kind of words mean something to a child. And while it may feel good in the moment to say something like that, it's not exactly beneficial in the long run for the child to hear unless you've made a full commitment to the child's mom, i.e. engagement. Again, patience. Dating a single parent is a whole different kind of patience when it comes to relationships. Number 3, a child is a blessing. Now, I said I would address at the beginning of the video, to everybody out there who's afraid of responsibility or who's a little intimidated at the thought of responsibility for a child, guys, relax. A lot of people say, oh, I'm not ready to handle the responsibility of a child, or I can't help raise a kid. Guys, newsflash, nobody's ready. You're never going to be ready. I've talked to people who have been married, who have a nice house, white picket fence, who have a great income, who have, parents and grandparents that live next to them. They got all the help in the world. They still ain't ready. All right, nobody's ready to have a kid. You're just not. My point is, a lot of times there's people that will say, they don't want to, date a single parent because it's an extra responsibility. And, in all honesty, having a child is a responsibility. It definitely is. But don't let that make you scared of, trying to date someone who has a child. Again, a child is a blessing. And if you happen to date somebody and it's going in the direction that you want it to, and then you add a child to that equation, and then you fall in love with the child, I mean, that's, you've hit the jackpot, guys. Seriously. And to the ladies out there, a child is a big responsibility. You've got a tremendous job on your shoulders. I give you guys all the props. All you single parents, I give you guys all the props. Don't allow that to make you feel like you're any less valuable than anybody else out there. It's merely a difference. And as a single parent, in the bigger picture, you technically actually have more to offer than the average person. A life with a child can, be hectic at times, but it can also be glorious. So again, don't be afraid to date a single parent. That does not mean that you can't have fun. Kids are fun. Kids are great. However, if you want to do things right, and you want to do things right by her and by God, it's going to take a little more patience than the average relationship. There's going to be moments where it's not so instantly gratifying, and that's fine. But I promise you, it will be worth it. Her and her child are worth it. Again, there's going to be different kinds of boundaries you're going to have to discuss. There's going to be boundaries with her, boundaries with the child, maybe even boundaries with the father of the child, which is a whole nother video to discuss. However, just be willing to discuss and respect those decisions. Like I said, every situation is going to be different. Some people don't mind you hanging out with their child at all. Other people, they're going to have the strictest of boundaries. Everybody's going to be different. Make sure you really know the person that you're dating and discuss with them what's best for their child and what their child needs from you. Just to kind of end things off, guys, this is a very sensitive subject. It can be a very, complicated topic. These are just suggestions. Every situation is going to be different. Just make sure you're handling your decisions with patience, respect, and overall godliness. This is a very condensed and abbreviated take on the types of things that it takes to date a single parent. So we're probably going to have more videos on this particular topic in the future. We will have more videos in the future. Also, just leave your comments, leave your questions, and bring up topics that we can discuss later on going forward, and even situations. We would love to talk about them. We would love to discuss them. So for Single Shift Ministry, my name is Rudy Jalapeno. Thanks so much for joining us. We love you guys. Bye.